grief author found guilty of fatally poisoning her husband in twisted plot to get his $4 million estate. Kouri Richins previously tried to kill her husband on Valentine's Day and forged a life insurance document. A mother who wrote a book to her 3 sons about dealing with the death of their father has been found guilty of murdering him. She did in fact murder her husband, the father of her 3 children, and then decide to write a book about dealing with the death of their father, while also being the reason why he's no longer around. Like, people do sick shit all the time, no matter what it is. They do sick shit, but this is beyond anything I probably could imagine. Kouri Richins, who was married to Eric Richins up until his 2022 death, was sat in a courtroom as a jury deliberated for 3 hours over her role in his fentanyl overdose. The mother of 3 faked an insurance claim prior to her husband's death and also attempted to kill him on Valentine's Day weeks before he passed away. In the end, however, the jury convicted her of aggravated murder, attempted aggravated murder for a failed attempt to kill him previously, forgery, and 2 counts of insurance fraud related to his life insurance. The conviction could carry a life sentence without the possibility of parole, which is the maximum charge of murder, or for murder I should say. Her sentencing is scheduled to take place on the 13th of May, which is the day Eric would have turned 44. The irony of that. Maybe it's just me, I don't know, but I find that quite ironic. Eric had been found dead in a home in Utah early in the morning on March 4th, 2022, with an autopsy revealing he had 5 times the legal dose of fentanyl in his system. 1 year later, Kouri then released a book on grief for his sons called Are You With Me? According to the product description, it aims to create peace and comfort for children who have lost a loved one, and follows a young boy who questions whether his father is with him during special moments like birthdays, Christmases, and first day of school. A month before she was arrested, she told ABC4, "She wanted some story to read to my kids at night, and I just could not find anything." She added, "Just because he's not present here with us physically, that doesn't mean his presence isn't here with us. Dad is still here, just in a different way." Kouri was millions of dollars in debt at the time of her husband's death, and killed him after lacing a Moscow Mule and 11-drop alcoholic beverage in a bid to inherit his $4 million estate. Prior to that, Kouri had laced Eric's sandwich with fentanyl on Valentine's Day, which caused him to black out. He told 2 friends he thought he was going to die, according to CNN. Searches on Kouri's phone included, "What is a lethal dose of fentanyl? Luxury prisons for the rich in America. And if someone is poisoned, what does it go down on a death certificate as?" The Guardian reports. It amazes me as well how stupid she could actually be to search this shit up on the internet of all places. Like, don't you know that's gonna come back to bite you in the ass at some point or another? She did not have the money to leave Eric or the money to salvage her business, prosecutor Brad Bloodworth said, adding, "Kouri Richins is an intensely ambitious person. She is a risk taker. There was a way forward. Eric had to die." In fact, Kouri was not named in Eric's will, and it was his sister who was the beneficiary of his estate and his $500,000 life insurance policy. Reports then said he changed his will, creating an estate his sister would control for the benefit of his 3 children. Eric's sister came across Kouri trying to break into her husband's safe after his death, which held between $125,000 and $165,000 in cash. When Eric's sister told Courtney the money wasn't hers, Kouri punched her in the face and neck and was convicted of assault. Eric's life was insured up to $2.2 million, but witnesses for the prosecution said some of the policies were riddled with errors, and on one document, Eric's signature was likely forged. Prosecutors also revealed Kouri was having an affair and speculated she might have wanted her husband out of the way to start a new life with a new man. Kouri raised her right to testify during the trial, and the defence did not call any witnesses. Eric's sister, Eric Richins, said, "Honestly, I feel like we are all in shock. We got justice for my brother." So for anybody out there who might not have seen this trial, I recommend giving it a watch, see what you think. It's definitely it's available on YouTube for free, so crack on if you wish to check that out. But to me, I'm happy to see this bitch behind bars. Like, obviously I have no personal attachment to the story or anyone involved in this situation, but when I was watching the trial, I couldn't help but look at this woman when the camera would focus on her, Kouri Richins that is, and she would just be so cold looking, like in the eyes. She'd be so cold looking, so dead looking, almost as though she has no soul, no remorse, no compassion, nothing. It was just emptiness inside her. And yeah, I get you're not supposed to show some sort of emotion during the trial because that kind of gives away, it kind of gives the jury an indication as to whether or not you actually are guilty of the crimes you are being accused of. But even a little bit of remorse, just like a tiny bit, there was nothing. It was just pure emptiness. I couldn't believe it. It never fails to amaze me just how much money can actually change a person in terms of their personality. Like, I'm sure before all of this, she was probably a decent person, but then later on just turned into an absolute savage and then completely changed as a human being. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm sure Eric wasn't perfect either. No one is ever perfect. But the fact that she went out of her way to not only attempt to kill him, but then later on managing to succeedingly kill him, it's just crazy. Like, I don't know how a person could be capable of doing that to a person they're married to, nonetheless, as well. And the fact that he's a father to your kids as well. Like, what the fuck is wrong with people? So that being said, feel free to comment down below if you are familiar with the story of Kouri Richins and Eric Richins, what your opinion is on the whole situation, whether or not you think the jury actually got it right in terms of convicting her on multiple charges. But until next time, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye for now.